Hey guys, it's Maggie and I'm back today, and no, I am not sick, I promise you. I just don't have makeup on today because it was one of those days where I woke up and I knew we're not getting all the things we want to get done today actually done. So I wanted to film and stuff, I wanted to do nice sit down videos, and you know, my hair was just not cooperating, my skin feels rough, so I don't want to put any makeup on it, and I was like, you know what, let's just write the outlines and not worry about filming today. But I have some updates for you, and oh my gosh, I have to share with you my husband Zach's experience calling our insurance company. He is annoyingly healthy and has never had to deal with this kind of stuff in his life, and I have had to deal with it far too often. And in my last video I kind of explained the situation that was going on, and I told him, you know, it's frustrating, but most of the time I don't even bother calling because it's just time wasted. So I am going to tell you about that. He did call on my behalf. I'm very thankful that he did that. He is awesome, but he left just as frustrated as I would have. So I'm going to tell you about that. The first thing that I want to show you is this. I thought you guys might like this if you like flowers. Our daffodils started blooming here, and it's kind of funny. Every time that I go to my fluids appointment, I have to drive south. And they, like, we're not that far, but it seems like they are a zone ahead of us because all of their flowers are blooming, their daffodils are blooming, their trees are budding and stuff. And I was like, is this a different world? Like, where did I go? It's really not that far. I drive an hour for fluids. Finally though, our stuff started blooming, so I do have daffodils. These guys are kind of funky. I don't know what kind these are because they have more petals than, you know, the typical daffodil would, but they're still pretty. And I do have the regular daffodils. They are a little bit behind these guys though. So I thought I would cut a few and put them in the house and make it feel like it's actually spring. I got outside actually yesterday and did some cleanup in the garden, so that was really nice, and just getting out in the sun feels good. So yeah, it was very nice. And man guys, I gotta tell you, the Phenergan, I don't want to use it, but I've kind of been having this like low-grade nausea almost consistently the last few days. No vomiting or anything, but just like that annoying nagging nausea. And the other night I got the Phenergan and I was like, I'm gonna take half a pill and we're gonna like enjoy not feeling sick to our stomachs. And I was able to eat sushi, which I haven't been able to eat. I know some of you guys are like, don't eat that. I really like it, and you know, everything in moderation. So I ate sushi and I was fine. And I wanted to try some other methods because I don't want to take the Phenergan every day. And obviously the situation with the Zofran, which I'll tell you more about because that has to do with Zach's call to our insurance company. It did not go well. I don't want to take Phenergan every day, so I was like, let me look into some other things. My friend uses ginger gum, and so I got this online, and it came with 2 packs. How many are in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12, so 24 pieces of gum. It's ginger gum to help with nausea, and it is from C-Band, so I guess the ones that make the little C-Band, which I've been interested in trying, but I think that's more for motion sickness than just regular, but who knows, maybe it would work. I actually really like this. I find when it is flavorful, when there's still ginger in it, it seems to get rid of the feeling of nausea. The only issue is the flavor lasts like 30 seconds and then it's gone. And it was $7 for 24 pieces of gum. I just find that kind of ridiculous. So if you have any ginger gum recommendations, I would love to check them out, because something that maybe isn't necessarily geared towards nausea relief, but maybe just ginger gum without the name of nausea relief on it, I bet it would be cheaper. You know how they like to up the prices on medical things. One other thing that I wanted to bring up is that recently I've been looking into posting my videos on other platforms as well as YouTube, so things that are similar to YouTube. And there's one that I'm looking at now that I actually like just searched on their site for Crohn's disease, and there was very little, and the stuff that was there was questionable information about curing your Crohn's disease. And I'm like, really, that's interesting, because there isn't a known cure as of right now, so wow. Anyways, I've been interested in posting on other platforms, so if you have any recommendations, I've had people in the past comment different sites that they like to use, and I thought that that would be kind of nice and just reach a wider audience if people don't necessarily use YouTube, so and get the Crohn's, IBD, ostomy information out there. But yeah, let's get into Zach's lovely call with our insurance company. So the brief background on this is in the fall, on our same insurance, went to the pharmacy and got Zofran, and I actually looked back. I wound up pulling up the receipt for Zach, so when he called our insurance company, he would have this information. In September, I paid $20 for 6 boxes of Zofran. I don't know how many pills are in a box of Zofran, but it was far more than what I received for, I didn't even tell you the right price. I'm gonna tell you the right price of how much this was. I paid for 1 box of Zofran just a couple days ago, $157.97. So I don't know if that's the reason, and don't quote me on the opioid thing. That is, I looked that up a while ago, but I don't know if that's the reason or it's just how it is. You know, Zofran comes the same way. You have to pop it out of the thing. But the thing is when you get loperamide prescribed, it comes in a pill bottle, and it's so much easier to take. And when you're not a regular person who's just having like an off day and having diarrhea, no, I have an ostomy. So that is kind of my baseline. And loperamide, medication-wise, seemingly has been the most effective. I think it's better than Lamodal in my case. Plus, it doesn't make me tired like Lamodal does. So I was hoping to get that prescribed, but the price of that was the $130. I was getting my prices mixed up between the Zofran and the loperamide. So I looked that one up. Didn't even think to look at the Zofran because in the fall, I paid 20 bucks. And I know if it had cost 150, I would have remembered that. So I didn't even look at that one. So when we got to the pharmacy and the lady told me it's 157 or whatever, I got it because she had mixed up the medication names, told me it was the Phenergan that was $157. And I was like, to me, it's worth it because Phenergan actually works the best for nausea, and when I'm really feeling sick, I would rather be able to take that than when I have this mild nausea, be able to take Zofran. Does that make sense? So I paid it, and then I looked at my bags later and realized it wasn't the Phenergan. The Phenergan cost like $5. It was the Zofran that cost $157. So anyways, Zach got super ticked. He's like, you need to call the insurance right now and see what the heck's going on. I said, Zach, I just won't get it again. Like, the battle that this will be trying to figure this out, it's not going to be worth it. I don't feel like calling. I'll just go without Zofran. I would rather do that. I'll buy all the gum. I'll do that. See, he's going in with that new perspective, thinking that things should work as they are supposed to. And you and I know that's not the case. Not in the medical world. Not, in fact, in most of the world, okay? Things, how they're supposed to work, they usually don't. So, anyways, I said, if you wanna try to fight this battle for me, I would appreciate it. Do not feel like you need to, because I handle 99.9% of medical things unless I am in the hospital dying. Like Zach, I don't know, he's asked a nurse for like a cup of ice for me before. That's pretty much his extent of dealing with my medical stuff, or taking me to appointments and stuff. He will do that as well. But when it comes to the phone calls, the prescriptions, the approvals, the appointment setting, all that, when it comes to a majority of my medical related stuff, it is me that does it. So this was new territory for him. And so I gave him my insurance card, you know, my number. I gave him the screenshot of the cost of the medication from September versus, you know, just a couple days ago. So he had all the information. I even texted him the pronunciation of Zofran, the generic, on Dancitron, because I thought if he says Zofran, then they may not know what he, you know, depending on who's working, they may not know what he's talking about, because on the pharmacy list it's on Dancitron. So anyways, even did that, and he called, and it worked out exactly like you're probably imagining. We didn't get very far. He didn't get very far. His first thing that he told me said I was transferred to so many different people. They just kept transferring me. And I was like, well, that's typical. You know, that's not surprising to me. And then he said basically what he sort of deduced, but it really wasn't sure, and he wasn't sure because they were using terms that he was unfamiliar with. And when he described them to me, I wasn't really familiar with. It sounds like kind of what I thought, like they want me to use their specific male pharmacy, which is fine. I can do that. I messaged my doctor about the loperamide. I'm not worrying about the Zofran right now, which I'll tell you why in a second. But I messaged my doctor about the loperamide and asked, hey, would you mind prescribing this, but sending it to this male pharmacy instead? Because it seems like they may cover it as opposed to my walk-in pharmacy. I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. But the other thing that took him multiple people to talk, you know, to go through, to figure this out, is that I am limited a certain amount of Zofran, and they didn't tell him a time frame. So I don't know if I'm limited a certain amount of Zofran for a year, indefinitely. The last time that I got the Zofran was last year. It was in 2022, so maybe it's a rolling 365 days. I don't know. I know that on the prescription itself, it says, this is another thing that doesn't make sense, and this is probably my walk-in pharmacy issue. It says on both of them, even though in September I received 6 boxes worth of Zofran, and the other day I just received 1 box. Both of them say they are a 10-day supply. So, I don't know. But what they had said was that I maxed out the amount that I could order, and they couldn't really give any further explanation to Zach. And they gave him another phone number to some other department, and they said, you can call this. Let me see. He did send me a message. It said, you can call this number and they can help you, which who knows if they could actually help us. But he, at that point, had given up because he had been on the phone for quite some time trying to get a clearer picture of, well, when can she get the Zofran? And if she can get the full amount of Zofran, will you cover it? Or do we need to go through your pharmacy to get the Zofran? And he was like really ticked at the end of this call, and he said, well, we're gonna call these people. And I said, Zach, I'll go without. I'll go without. It's easier to go without. It's easier for me to just go throw up than deal with this nonsense. And I know it just sounds like, well, just make the call. It's just that the call that you think would be so simple to ask a question winds up being you talking to multiple people who make it seem like you're crazy. Like, what are you even asking? What are you talking about? And it's just like, it's just tiresome. And you know, you're kind of already stressed because you're feeling a little nauseated. I'm very grateful that Zach took this over himself, but he doesn't need anything else on his plate. You know, I want to be able to handle my medical stuff. And yeah, so that's how the call went. And the title of this video, I did not title it. Zach told me to title it this because he felt like he failed. So I want you to know that. I don't want you to think that I think he failed at this call. The system failed us. But he wanted me to put that title, so I'm just letting you know. I don't think that he failed at all. It's just, it's how it always works out, and it's exactly why I didn't make the call. I would rather just go without the Zofran. It really, I said it does nothing. It does the slightest amount of help. And it's just funny when they said that I maxed out how many pills I could get, because I really don't use, like, I've only recently started taking it frequently because I felt sick the last, couple of weeks. I had the episode a couple weeks ago where I threw up, and ever since I've kind of been on and off nauseated. And it's not a big deal, and again, I'm not pregnant, I'm just letting you know. I still got comments on the video where I talked about it. Trust me, I tested. Got my period, all of it. There's nothing. Sometimes I get into little kicks of this, though. It's not really all that uncommon for me, and yeah. So I thought that I would share with you, because I thought many of you can probably commiserate with this situation, and I've learned to just not get upset about it, not to stress about it. And I know how frustrating it can be for a medication that you actually do need. I remember it happened with my Humira, and I was like due a couple days prior, and I was switching pharmacies, and I spent so long on the phone making a whole new patient account with this one pharmacy, and the drug never showed up. They said it'll show up on a Wednesday, and it never showed up. And so I called again, and they said I wasn't in their system and nobody created an account for me. So they didn't know who I was, and I think I filmed that. I think I did vlog on that, but I was just like, crying on the video and on the phone because it's so frustrating. Like, this is time out of my day. I get that the people on the other end of the phone, they're at work. This is not part of my work, but it feels like a second job, so you spend a lot of time managing this stuff. So I can definitely commiserate with you, and I know you can commiserate with me. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just wanted to update you on a couple of those little things, and I hope that you are feeling great, and I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.